Welcome to Coach on the Couch. I'm your host, Jason Zaleski, here at Stratford High School today, and talking to Stratford Tigers softball coach, Mandy Pankratz. Coach, thanks for being here. Thanks for taking time out of your busy day. We saw some dodgeball going on when we came in.
Day.
Yeah, it looked like a lot of fun. I almost thought about asking if I could join in. Remind us how many years you've been coaching and what keeps you coming back every year.
I've been coaching 20 years, and it's always the kids. I mean, that's what we do in education in general. It's also fast pitch softball is a great game. I always remind kids, actually, I just reminded them this week that you get a very small part of your softball playing days that you can play the game of fast pitch softball. And luckily over the last 10 years, we've really developed a very strong youth program around central Wisconsin and so forth, so kids get exposed to this game sooner because it is such a great game. But there's just a small amount to play high school fast pitch. You know, boys can go on and play baseball in Legion and shaps and that type of thing and stuff. There's just not those opportunities for fast pitch, and it's a unique game. You know, you'll see a lot of baseball coaches that coach baseball for a long time and then they get to softball and it gets in them because it's such a faster, high-paced game and stuff, and then they really enjoy it and they don't want to give it back. So, the kids in the game, that's what it boils down to.
I've said it a few times, and mostly on air. I said it as recently as Tuesday during a soccer game that I tell people all the time during the spring. Softball, by far, fast pitch softball, the most exciting sport that there is. And so I'm with you 100%, Coach. I really love going to the games. All right, let's talk about last year's team just a little bit. Maybe I'll give you some time to think of some of the departing seniors from last year. We'll acknowledge them one last time. But in general, probably not the season that you and the girls wanted last year. Yet, though, a lot of memories formed along the way, a lot of good times, a lot of smiles, no doubt about that. So tell us about a couple of those seniors from last year's team that were with you in the program and had a good time with you.
I think last year we never felt rhythm from the start, whether it be the COVID pause or, starting our season late, having some contact days, and just lots of people finally starting to do things again as families, and lots of interruptions. It just never felt smooth from the beginning, and we were going to be inexperienced coming in last year, and you don't realize the importance of the seniors that missed their season in 2020 and how important they are to your program. And because we're so inexperienced, we missed out on vital opportunities for those girls to really teach the culture of our program and so forth. So it was a big learning curve. We ran lots of people through. We were hit very hard with injuries. 3 of our 4 seniors from last year were out for an extended period of time. One of our seniors, Maria Shanefuss, would have thrown some innings for us. As far as a pitcher, she ended up with a surgery early in the season, and she never pitched an inning for us. So just kind of odd situations that I think we hit a lot of bumps, and we had a hard time recovering from those bumps. But great kids, Sydney Bushy, Riley Flank, Sarah Martin, and Maria Shanefuss, just wonderful kids, and they're going to do great things in this world for us and so forth. And we definitely miss them. And when we think about experience, we just didn't have it last year, and it showed. I mean, we were in some games, and then we'd make some mistakes, and then those mistakes would kind of add to 3 or 4 mistakes and so forth. So that experience factor in this type of game, especially when we have the conference that we have, with a very strong junior class in our conference, that those are mistakes that are going to hurt you. So, and we felt that. So, but we did feel that toward the end of the season, we were starting to make some strides. We have a lot of kids that play a lot of ball, and I think that's hopefully going to help us take a step forward.
All right, thank you for that. We'll take a look now at this year's team. Before we get into the names, tell us about what you and the girls have talked about so far as goals and expectations for this season.
It's pretty simple. We talk about competing. That's what we want to do. We want to compete. Like we said, the Marywood is, when it comes to boys, girls sports, it's just strong. And it's strong in the north, it's strong in the south. And our goal is to go out there and compete. And we are, coming back now with a little bit of experience in our lineup this year. We still have a lot of pieces to figure out, and when you can't get outside, those pieces become a little harder to figure out. So we have a lot of competition for positions. But we approach our season a little bit. We use what's called words of the week, and we kind of tie everything into that word of the week. And we have some good conversations about that. The girls share some things with each other out of our words of the week. And, I think we focus very, very small so that we can hopefully step a little bit toward bigger goals. So that's kind of how our mentality, how we shift our mentality, I should say.
Let's talk about pitching. In your sport, that relationship between the pitcher and catcher is important. So if you've got that pitcher, that girl in the circle, that can take you a long way. So tell us what we should expect from your pitching staff this year.
We're going to have multiple girls probably throw some innings for us. Allie Zuliger threw, almost the majority of our innings last year, and we asked a lot of her, probably too much at times. We were just a little light with an injury and so forth on pitching. So this year she's going to have some help, and I think that's a relief for her across the board too. She's also a girl that can play other positions for us, so that's really nice. So we actually have 4 girls that might see some innings this year. We have Allie, of course, Sonia Peterson, who's a junior, Bailey Linsmeyer, a junior, and Lainey Pankratz, who's a freshman. So they'll see some innings. We may do more combination pitching than we have in the past, and I think that's a little bit where maybe our game is headed, because fast pitch softball is exploded in the state of Wisconsin, and you see more girls able to throw innings and throw innings at this level. So that may be something we explore a little bit. We may explore that a little bit tomorrow when we hopefully see a diamond. So that's all going to be a process we figure out, I think, as we go. So, but all of those girls very versatile in other positions, so that, very well-rounded group.
I had the pleasure of calling a number of your games last year. I got to know you and some of the girls during those games. Fast pitch softball, not unlike any other sports. The dings, you mentioned some of the injuries from last year. One of those kind of bruisers on your team, Tessa Berg, a big stick at the plate along with it. Took one off the nose one time, maybe a shoulder or a knee. I mean, anything that could have happened, I think it happened to Tessa last year. Tell us about her and others like her on your team that can really battle in the box.
Yeah, we're unique right now as far as teams in our conference in the fact that we have 17 juniors and seniors out for softball. There are, teams that are right now not able to play JV, and that's a bonus for us, and a good feeder system as we look toward rebuilding here. Girls like Tessa and Allie and Meg Weezy and, like Tessa Miller, these girls, they're competitors. They really go out there and they want to compete. And Tessa is definitely a competitor. She's actually going to see a little bit different role for us. We lost a great deal of outfield as far as last year, and she's going to roam center field for us a little bit because she has the arm, she has a cannon, and she gets a good jump on the ball. She understands the game well, and so forth. So that's going to be something we try. She'll also see some innings behind the plate as well. So it's going to be, when we talk about having a captain of the outfield, that's our expectation for Tessa this year. So transition for her, and obviously anytime we talk transition, we need to time on the diamond to make that transition. Yeah. So that's why, we're in Division III. We're probably one of the only Division III schools around here. We play actually Stanley tomorrow, Stanley Boyd in a doubleheader, who's in our regional. But otherwise, we don't see a lot of Division III competition. Not that our Division IV and V teams couldn't match up with that. They definitely are. So we have to make sure that we get our games in here so that we can be competitive when we get to our very tough regional.
I mentioned Tessa. One of the warnings I always give during these talks is, once you mention that one name, you're in danger of not mentioning the other ones. And so my apologies to anybody else that hit really well for you last year. She just, for whatever reason, stuck out in my mind as I was calling those games. Senior leadership, a big part of any team, no doubt will be a big part of your team here this year. Who are some of those girls, or what do you tell your seniors about being able to rely on them when they're out in the field and you're not?
I don't really have to tell this group of seniors a whole lot. You have a girl like Allie Zuliger who's wise beyond her years when it comes to just life in general. She does a lot for us in the school building. She's just a natural leader. And then you have a girl like Meg Weezy, who is not a vocal leader by any means, but she just leads by her actions, and her smile speaks volumes when it comes to it. And then, we have Kara Shara, who just kind of came out for softball, had played a little bit when she was younger and came out last year, and she's just a joy to be around in practice. And, Lauren Wiesman the same way. And we have Kylie Manicky and Delaney Denny as well. That kind of rounds out our senior group. And they just naturally do things that lead by example. They're good kids. They want to be involved. We have a roster that has freshmen, a sophomore, juniors, and seniors on. And that's, not every team can say that oftentimes. And so you have a lot of different people that are different phases of their life. Our seniors are thinking about going on. Our freshmen are new to our program. or to the high school program and so forth. So it's a lot to balance. And because we have such, like tomorrow we're suiting up 18 girls. That's a lot. 17 girls, I guess. Tomorrow we have one on playing some volleyball. But it's a lot of different personalities that have to mesh. So that's something that we focus on. We talk a lot about being a group that meshes together and so forth. And I think they're just excited to get on the field and see how that meshes besides in the gym right now. So.
Let's talk about fan attendance a little bit as we begin to kind of bring this in for a landing. Of course, 2 years ago there were 0 because we had 0 games, unfortunately. Everything looked great last year. Your fans really do attend the games well, I think. But there are some that I think we should talk to about why it's important that they need to come out and support these student athletes while they're playing softball.
I go back to what I said at the beginning, that there's just a small amount of time to watch fast pitch softball. You can watch basketball and volleyball and everything for quite a while beyond high school, and you can play it if you want. We just don't have that opportunity. So I think once people get to a softball game, they realize how much they enjoy it. We have a lot of people that do a lot for softball in central Wisconsin to make sure that softball continues to rise to where we want it to be. And we want, for years, we just heard about the southern half of the state with softball or the western part of the state with softball, and I think central Wisconsin's really made a name the last 15 years, a little bit more so, in the coaching career, and we have very tough teams that come out of central Wisconsin that always compete well into playoffs, if not make an appearance at the state tournament. So I think that's the goal, to promote the sport of softball and to promote these athletes that put in a lot of time. When I look at our roster, the amount of kids that are playing ball in the summer, we have our own program, but then kids also play, because softball's their sport and they want to play a little extra and they love it, and they bring that love for the game every day. So I just can't say enough about the sport and enough about these kids playing the sport, because we did something goofy in Fayette today, and we had windmill. We said throw windmill for a little bit, and the boys were trying to do it and they couldn't do it, and they're like, how do you do this and stuff. So they, I think, realize how difficult the sport of softball is once in a while.
Lastly, for me, Coach, I'll let you recruit here a little bit. There are likely some families with girls or boys that are watching this right now. Elementary school is kind of the age range I'm thinking of. What are some activities that those kids can do, whether it's now or during the off season, to get interested and get ready to play this sport?
Luckily in Stratford we have great options. We go all the way down to 6-year-olds. We have a little 8U team that is about the most adorable thing you can watch. But just in general, and I tell us to people at parent-teacher conferences, is get their kids outside and play catch, and get their kids outside and be active. That's something that we've definitely been lacking the last, I actually think when COVID hit, that was something that was maybe promoted again, of getting outside and playing with our kids, but just those simple hand-eye coordination pieces and watching games. Our little guy is 9 years old, and it's amazing what he absorbs just from watching years of his siblings play. So it's, I think, a piece where we need to get away from the video games once in a while and just get out and play. So.
Good. All right, as we wrap this up, anything I left out, anything that you want to mention about your team?
No, I'm just excited about this group of ladies. They're a lot of fun, and look forward to them making strides each day.
Good. Coach Mandy Pankratz, thank you for the time. Very much looking forward to the season. We want you to get on the field. I know you're attempting to tomorrow, so we hope that you do, and good luck this year.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, more Coach on the Couch coming up next.